Korea is way more westernized. I'm gonna be honest, I like Korean food more.
Really?
Yeah, Korea lost their color. No one's wearing color anymore.
오늘은 이제 누나를 만나러 갑니다. 날씨가 좀 제법 추워져서 커피 한잔 하기로 했거든요.
Hit me with your questions.
Yeah, so I mean, you were living in Japan and Korea. So when did you live in Japan before?
I lived in Japan right after high school. I graduated when I was 16.
Okay.
The Dutch school system is a little different than other countries, so you can graduate at either 16 or 18. I graduated at 16. And I told my parents I wanted to do kind of like a gap year.
Okay.
But doing a whole year in Japan is insane, money-wise, but also I was 16.
Okay.
So I would go alone, and my parents were like, 6 months max. So I was 16 and I went from like June, July until December. I stayed with a host family for the first month. I did not like it. When you apply for a host family, you can say like what kind of host family you prefer. I said I would prefer a host family where there's both parents didn't really matter, but I wanted to be in a host family where they had kids.
Okay.
Preferably either my age or younger, because I love kids, but also I wanted to make friends.
Okay.
They gave me a host family that was an hour by bus away from my school.
How did that work?
I don't know. And then it was no kids, no pets, which is something that I really wanted. I mean, the woman was really nice. The thing is, she never had kids, and the other students that she had over were all older. So she didn't know how to handle like a 16-year-old girl. She gave me like a curfew, 8 p.m. My school was 4 hours every day. If I had morning classes, it was from 9 to 12. If I had evening class, it was from 2 to 6. I can walk around for an hour and then go back home because the bus takes an hour.
Oh.
And then what do I do the rest of the evening? Just stay inside the house.
Yeah.
So I would break the rules and I would go out because my friends, they would always go to Ohorikoen. I stayed in Fukuoka. Ohorikoen is this big park. And then I came back home at like 10 p.m.
Yeah.
So I came home and then she locked the door so I couldn't enter. So I was like knocking and she ignored me. I texted her like, hey, can you please open the door? And then she opened the door and she was like, you're late. And I was like, yeah, I know, I'm sorry. And she was like, you're late. And then like she didn't speak to me.
Oh no.
She's so mad. So I left and lived in a dorm where I had to do everything by myself, which was tough, but I preferred that because like no curfew and I could do what I want.
From comparing to Korea and Japan, like what's the biggest difference that you feel the most?
Korea is way more, I want to use the word westernized. I think it has to do with a lot of American influence with the American military, helping out Korea. And Japan is an island. They've been closed off from the rest of the world. So they're still very closed off. They really have their own culture, their own like norms, whatever. I lived in Seoul and I lived in Fukuoka. It's not that I lived in Seoul and Tokyo. Then I could make more of a comparison because living in Fukuoka, it's like, yes, there's over 1 million people that live there, but I would be like the only white girl on the whole like Hakata station, you know? Like, definitely they were more like shocked about seeing a foreigner. Whereas in Korea it was not that bad, but again, it was the capital city and I feel like Koreans are more accommodating to foreigners. They speak more English. I mean, I still get bothered by some Korean people, like Korean guys or whatever.
Like, hi.
I have some story. But in Japan, they would come up to me and maybe like, can I please take a picture with you? Which is like, am I a celebrity? Like, or they would like chase after me in the station, and I'm saying that because it happened over 10 times where someone was running and I'm like looking around. They're running from me. They're running to catch me. And then they're like, can I please take a picture with you? Like one person starts and then they start gathering around because they're like, well, if she's getting one, then I'm getting one, you know?
Can you like tell the difference between Korean food and Japanese food? What are the like major differences?
So again, it's a little bit different because I was vegetarian when I lived in Japan, so I didn't try a lot of Japanese food in that time. I did go back to Japan for the first time since I lived there this year. And now that I'm not vegetarian anymore because of Korea, I got to try a lot of the food. I'm gonna be honest, I like Korean food more.
Really?
Yeah. Because I like, same reason why I love Indian food, Mexican food, Thai food. It's so flavorful. They have a lot of spices, a lot of variety. Whereas Japanese food, it's very like, I wouldn't say bland, but they just don't use many spices or flavors. So if you don't like fish food, like fishy taste or whatever, which I don't like,
Then you're not gonna be really like liking the Japanese food that much.
yeah. But I mean, I love Japanese ramen. Of course, I love sushi. But I feel like they just don't use a lot of
Flavors.
or spices.
What's your favorite Korean food then? Jango? Really?
Yeah. When I first got here, I would say bibimbap because it's safe food.
Yeah.
And it's many veggies and whatever. But after becoming not being vegetarian anymore and like exploring, I love samgyeopsal too.
Yeah.
But
We went to Samgyeopsal place.
Yeah.
You were eating really well at that time. I was like, what? You sure you were vegetarian before?
I know it's crazy.
Yeah.
Takgalbi, I love takgalbi.
We should go. I mean, there's two takgalbi, like the original like red spice takgalbi, and there's like really like barbecue style takgalbi.
Ah, yeah, the barbecue one's so good.
That's the good one. Maybe we can try that one next time because you haven't tried that. So what kind of transportation were you using that time in Japan?
Bus.
Bus?
It's so funny because I didn't speak any Japanese, but I had to take the bus. My school is very helpful with everything. They were also the ones that find you host families, right? Or dorms. So they gave me like a piece of paper where they wrote in Japanese like, this is my stop. Like, please help me. This is my stop. So I would go, the first time I had to go back home, I went up to the bus driver and I was like, I don't know. And he was like, okay. And then sit down. So I sit in the bus.
Did you sit right behind the bus driver?
No, I sat like in the back too. So I'm like sitting down, and then suddenly we're at my stop. He stops the bus, he gets up, and he's like, this is your stop.
Wow,
like
he
that.
even stopped the bus.
Yeah, got out.
Like, that's a really good system.
Yeah, it was so sweet. So he was like, this is your stop. So I was like, oh, thank you. So I like knew what stop I had to go to. But I mean, honestly, this happened to me in Korea as well. Literally the same thing.
Really?
When was this? I don't remember. I think it was 2017 when I came to Korea by myself for the first time. So I went to the bus driver, you know, like the limo bus, airport buses, where like comfy chairs. I was like, this hotel. 주세요. 제발. And then he also stopped the bus and he was also like,
wow,
come with me. And I was like, okay. So I mean, that's kind of similar.
I never had that kind of experience in my life.
In Japan, if I ask people, oh, where's this? They won't tell me. They'll take me there.
Wow.
So I'm like once I was in like Tenjin Station, I asked like, oh, where's this cafe or whatever. The girl was like, let's go. Like,
really?
Walk me like outside of the station, walk me all the way there. And she's like, here you go, and then just walk back into the station.
Wow.
And like one time, I was like just looking around confused. A guy came up to me, he's like, where do you need to go? Brought me there, even though I didn't ask for help.
Wow.
He was like, you look confused, I'll take you there. So sweet. They're very eager to help foreigners, which I think is so lovely. Whereas in Korea, you can look as confused as you want. Like, unless you ask for help, they'll be like, good luck, buddy.
They don't help you out that much in Korea? No?
No.
Well, what's the difference in Korean hairstyles and Japanese hairstyles, like fashion?
So different, I think. The thing is, I feel like Japanese fashion is a bit more out there.
Mm-hmm.
They take more risks, especially in Tokyo. Younger people, I feel like, I remember in Japan, like, I did, like, my dorm was like it was half Japanese, half foreigners. And like all of the Japanese students, they all went to beauty school. They were all trying to be hairdressers.
Wow.
So their fashion was crazy, their hair was always crazy, which was really cool. And in Korea, they're a bit more reserved. I've heard a lot of foreigners these days complain that Korea lost their color. No one's wearing color anymore. It's so beige and white and black, which I agree with. When I was here in 2017, it wasn't that bad. But now it's more like that.
I think COVID took the color off for
Maybe.
But in the end, you decided to live in Korea. And why was that?
Because it is much easier for foreigners to live in Korea than Japan. Like, even though I lived in Japan, I did not have a proper visa. I had a tourist visa. That's why I had to leave the country and come back.
Oh.
90 days, leave, come back. Even just a student visa, even though I was in a school, so difficult. Like foreign help, like English, they don't speak English. A lot of them don't.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of Koreans don't either. I still need a lot of my Korean friends' help for stuff, but it is still so much easier to get a visa, to get work. I don't want to say that too loud because there's already too many foreigners here and I'm struggling to get work. And also, I feel like foreigners do like to live in Korea more than Japan because it is, the workload in Japan is just crazy. I would love to go to Japan for work when it's like modeling things because I know that agencies sometimes send people to Japan or China. And I do think you get better pay as a model in Japan, but it's hard to live there as a foreigner. Definitely, it's easier in Korea.
So you recommend foreigners to live in Korea than Japan, even though it's kind of
It's oversaturated. Don't come.